Welcome to the Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button. This is a CU Scoop. And if you haven't already, you can scroll to the bottom of the description on this video and you will see a space where you can actually become a member of the channel. All support is appreciated. All right, so Colorado loses by a score to West Virginia. You've got some encouraging signs offensively from Julian Lewis. After the game, Coach Prime had his presser, and there are some reports out where Coach Prime said changes are coming, right? All year long, if you follow this channel, you know I've been saying the whole time, I'm like, hey, listen, guys. One thing about it, winners don't stay. That there is not status quo with a winner. When you've got someone who wants to win, expects to win, don't expect for things to stay the same if you're losing. Don't expect for things to stay the same if you're winning. Coach Prime proved to us last year that even coming off of a 9-4 season, 9-3 regular season, there were still changes made. You saw Swayze come in. You saw Marshall Falk come in. We saw there for a minute. We saw Coach Zimmer and Coach Leftwich there, and I know people have still been asking, "Where's Leftwich?" And you know that answer could be revealed sooner than later. Who knows, right? But you saw changes being made. You saw philosophies being kicked, kind of kicked around, and I'm starting to feel as if there could be more changes than we've probably seen in a long time. Now, mind you, this was year 3, right? Into the Coach Prime tenure at Colorado. Year 1, you go 4-8. Year 2, you go 9-3. Year 3, now a real possibility. You're 3-7. You could go 4-8 again. You could go 5-7. You could go 3-9. There's a real possibility into all of those scenarios. And I think that changes probably will come. But let's say someone called me. No one has. No one's called and asked my opinion. But if and a lot of people want to know, rightfully so. I've never, no matter if I'm talking Auburn, UGA, no matter what school, I'm very selective about my words when it comes to criticizing schools, because as somebody who holds the relationships that I hold in the pro ranks and college, I understand what goes into certain things. Even if I don't know the coach personally, I always I know how hard these guys work. Even though we get to, as fans, we get to sit back and say, "Hey, man, we get to get our fire and our pitchforks, and we get to say, hey, we want this guy's head on the platter. We want this. He's not doing his job." But I see what goes on at a rate where the average person probably wouldn't see from. I've been privy to some conversations and access that I'm grateful for. So I always include that when I start to speak about changes that should be made. But on this, I kind of want to talk about some things that I think could help Colorado that you may see in the offseason. I think right now you got your quarterback of the future, hands down, Julian Lewis. I think, first things first, retention. Coach Prime's going to change a lot. They're going to evaluate the bye week's they're going to evaluate game planning. They're going to evaluate actual execution, evaluations of players. I wouldn't doubt if they evaluate a routine. So there are going to be a lot evaluated. But I think first and foremost, when you evaluate your roster and you evaluate what's going on, I think you got to start with retention. Making sure that Julian Lewis is retained is probably priority one. Jordan Seaton, they got to be right there together. Then you go look at your draft eligible guys and see who you can get to come back, right? Does Xavier Hill have any more time left? I'm not sure if he does, but you want to make sure you keep a Larry Johnson. You bookend tackles are important. Not sure if DJ McKinney has any eligibility left that you can find, but if you could, you would want to bring him back. And then you go and you look and you say, where are my young guys, the London Merritts of the world, who've played and who showed you that they're going to be integral parts of a successful football team, whether it's in Colorado or somewhere else. So you go and you find the Alec McPhersons and the London Merritts, and you look at what rooms have performed, and you say, all right, Omarion Millers and Dre Millers and some young guys who are starting to come on it that have shown flashes, Cam Michael. You got pieces in place. And then you have to figure out, all right, where do we need to build? I felt last year and going into the season, we've said it a million times. I've said it. And no matter what show I've been on, when they ask me whether it be primetime or the morning run, shout out to the morning run with Uncle Neely and Chico on the pregame network, I always said I felt like up the alley, like, interior linebacker safety play, that middle is where you would want to see some improvement, where I felt would worry me a little bit. And that worry presented itself and manifested itself. And I don't think it's bad players. What I think is the sum of the players in the scheme together. It's certain type of guys doing certain things in this scheme. I don't think you ever found the right mix. And we'll see, but I think there are going to be some positions that are going to be evaluated. And I think that you're going to see for sure. One position I think that you're going to see for sure next year is you're going to get a Mike backer that can call it and stuff the run. You're going to see a traditional Mike backer. I definitely believe that. I think they are going to go get another corner. You're going to get a one corner, somebody they feel like they can leave on the island and trust. Colorado's going to be very aggressive. Now, I do know that Colorado's going to be very aggressive in the portal, and they got to nail evaluations, and they will not leave a stone unturned. Then also, I think safety play. You got to get you another safety, and you need a dog. I mean, a dog or two up front on that defensive line. So I think this year, Colorado, where you start, is you're going to start defensively, and to be honest, you're going to need some of the changes that are going to be made are going to be on every level of the defense. I think you had more depth this year, but I don't know if you had those guys up at the top of the depth chart that you may have had in previous years. I think there's going to have to be a leadership kind of so there. The Falcons, after Mike Vick got in trouble, they said they had a Falcon filter, right? There were certain type of guys things that they had to do in order to be a member of the Falcons, right? They wanted to make sure that the character of the guys fit what the Falcons needed after coming through such a tumultuous time. I think Colorado is going to have that Colorado filter. They're looking for leaders. So not can he just play, but can he lead? I think that's going to be one of those things. And leadership is intangible, but they're going to want to start to look for captains, right? I would be curious to know how many guys came over on the transfer portal from smaller schools that were actually captains at their school before they left. That's going to be important. How many captains can you get in the transfer portal? So things of that nature are where I think are things that Colorado will be looking for. And Coach Prime, some of the changes that'll be made. Offensively, I do think you'll probably see more of a college-based offense come in. They're going to, I think, and I don't know, even if it's on a consulting basis, you're going to see more people in Colorado who had success at the college level. I bet you. Now, this is not inside information. I didn't talk to Coach Prime about this. I didn't talk to anybody on staff about this. these are strictly my opinions, but I do think you're going to see more people who've had success on the college level, and they're going to find that right blend as far as professional development as well as a resume in college. And those are going to be things. And I don't know what position room. I don't know if it's going to be in an analyst role, but you can believe that once they evaluate and Coach Prime sees it, I believe that you're going to see more of an influence at the college level of experience. And I think it'll go a long way. Um, I don't think Colorado's done a bad job recruiting, but that'll be evaluated as well. I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes to be made, right? But I think you have when the most important position in college football and football period is the quarterback position. If you got a quarterback, if you got a trigger man, you could build around it. And I think what Julian Lewis gave you an opportunity to do is say, all right, we know we got our guy, right? We know we've got a fire quarterback. Now, for all the people that say West Virginia is a horrible team, man, it was his. This is a first of all, they just beat Houston. They turned that same defense turned Houston over 4 times. So let's not trivialize. That was Rich Rodriguez. Let's not trivialize West Virginia. He could have went out there and threw 4 picks. He could have went out there and threw 2 picks like Connor Whiteman did the week before, but he didn't. Took a lot of sacks for sure. And there are going to be some people that say, "Oh, well, you can't use the excuse that he was missing his tackles." But maybe that 7 is 5 if he has his tackles. But I just don't want people to discount the performance of Julian Lewis in that game based on the fact of, oh, they played West Virginia. I mean, he played who was on the schedule at the time when he got his first start. In the cross country, he had to go across country and start in the game without the best conditions. So I think you got your quarterback of the future, someone that you can develop, you can build around. And now you're going to start to see more and more um, changes to get Colorado back to that 9-win bowl Big 12 championship conversation because we see it can be done. We've seen schools that were afterthoughts at the beginning of the year, like a Houston, be in the conversation in late November. I expect Colorado to do the same. You've got your trigger man. So in the comments, you guys drop. What changes do you think Coach Prime will be making, or should he be making? Opinion. This is our your chance to drop some opinion on what you think the what can be done, or what should be done, or what will be done. And I think some changes will be made, and I think there'll be positive changes, and I think Colorado will be just fine. All right, that's my time. Appreciate you guys. See you soon.